There we are.
Hello, and welcome back to Let's Drone Out. And you're listening to Let's Drone Out. And tonight we are joined by. it made a good little giggle. Tonight you're joined by Andrew / Frank.
Good evening.
I'm Bright Till I Fly. Hello, and everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Hello, we're on Let's Drone Out, by the way.
My tired darling wife,
Bonjour.
Tony, and Belric, Stephen.
Hello and welcome to Let's Drone Out on Let's Drone Out with Let's Drone Out.
Yep. We were waiting around for Stephen, and Curry Kitten held up the bone drone. Do you want to tell us what happened? Other than did you think
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know. I agreed to review it on the basis that it looks stupid, and that made me interested in it. I can't think of a proper thing. People will say, "Oh, so you can fit through tiny gaps," but you're obviously having other things. I thought, as you guys did, that the big deal would be on roll because the two motors are so close together. Wasn't a problem, as you'd expect. The pitch was very good. The roll was actually felt fairly normal. The problem I had is when I did a coordinated turn, I'd yaw in and I'd sort of turn. This would make the gyro think something was up. So I'm going around a turn and suddenly it goes 100% throttle and shoots upwards.
Whoa.
For some reason. And it's like, well,
that's jump
peculiar.
prevention back in the day. Do you remember that?
Who? No. What was that?
You don't. There's a setting in the GUI, your jump prevention, that you can turn up. Tony, do you remember back in the day? You remember when Fossil released the shoe drone? And do you remember we were just about leaving and Banton got his out and was when he yawed, it would jump in the air? Yeah, your jump prevention. I think it's.
I bet it'd be good now with the software and stuff. Now,
what was the name of that one?
The shoe?
That fossil stuff.
There you're
sideways thing. Because it was like a sort of slightly F1 body made out of a few layers of the
Johnny
fossil
flew
stuff
it really
APP,
well,
right? And then had at the front and the back, it had like a couple of round carbon tubes, and then it could have like a sort of the motors tilted quite a bit. Was it a type of Revo, or was the Revo just all something else?
That was something else.
Something else. It's named after a star or something spacey.
So this could just be a tuning thing then, by the sound of
Yeah, but your jump
prevention
limit.
It's been replaced by your D gain.
Oh, well, I can
So
just...
you need to just
one
tune
of the
it
problems
first.
with this thing is it didn't come with any particular instructions about what you might need to do. So I thought, I'll just try it as is and see what happens. And it was actually flying around okay until you turn it, and then it tended to go up in the air very fast. The biggest problem I had is I was using a stack which has this XM Plus on it, and so I thought, I'll just do that. And I've been using Express RS for like last bunch of builds, and I sort of take signal for granted these days. And I'm just flying along on this, and twice I just got RX loss, and this thing just went thud. So I never really tested the landing because it just fell on the floor. But this, actually, the second time it fell on the floor, it didn't do any damage. But the first time it broke some props. After it fail-safe twice, and it's going slightly crazy on the turns, I thought, I won't do any more. I'll go back and replace the receiver before I do anything else. But aside from that, it's a bit of an interesting novelty, but I can't think, oh yeah, I really need something like that instead of a regular quad, because it doesn't make any particular sense.
Yeah, where would you fly at really small gates? Like you want to fly Woot gates with a 5-inch for reasons that you can't really explain to anyone.
Yeah, it's also weird as well to have, looking through the camera, have the prop there. I mean, people that fly a sort of an X Plus would be used to that. If you're used to your arms like that, it's very weird to see a prop right in front of you. You're like, what am I looking at here? Because it doesn't.
You
it
keep
doesn't
thinking
look like
something's
anything...
come loose and your camera's
Yeah,
skewed round
it's
or
like
something.
I'm at a peculiar angle. The other really stupid thing why you wouldn't want to do it is launching. In the Banggood video, some idiot holds it like that, starts the
pinches it in the
props up
middle.
and sort of lets go. And
Get
it
the
does that.
intern to hold it. New one each
I
week.
value my fingers more, so I sort of I had this balancing on another mat tree in the field like this, going
that's a
sort of
terrible
upwards
idea.
like that. But it's curious. It's kind of
How
fun.
did
But
you manage to build it? Because the pictures on the site look like it had about half an inch of room in the canopy for all of the components.
yeah, I think I showed you guys the problem I was having. I've got. Show me on close up again. There's the stack here,
Lots of
and
standoffs.
normally, what I've done is basically put standoffs there because I had to raise my stack up. The picture literally just had a single board, this sort of all-in-one board. I've built mine with standoffs basically to raise it above, and it's not a big stack there, but yeah, a regular stack just needs a bit of a standoff. Yeah,
think
it's
I'll pass
it's a
on
novelty, interesting kind of funny build, but I don't expect anybody to suddenly say, "Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I want to fly through very narrow corridors and nothing else."
And have real trouble
really get it.
tuning my quad. Because it was all just too easy with these modern Betaflight versions. Let's have a really awkward frame that forces us to go back 5 years in tuning.
Yeah,
It was interesting because I'm in quite a narrow field, so when I was doing a turn, the first thing it did when it went sort of full throttle is go over someone else's land, and I was like, "Eek, that's not good. Where is it going?" Especially with the fact it kept losing signal and dropping down. That was a bit frightening. But I'll put a different receiver on.
I wonder how much of it, of your kind of throttle in the corners issue might be from, because when it's yawing, like the yaw moment doesn't really matter that it's off plane just from inertia, but aerodynamically you've got the interaction between the top propeller that's on one side and the bottom propeller that's on the other side going the other way around. I wonder whether
Wash.
there's kind of sort of prop wash from your right motor to your left motor or vice versa, or at the back, I guess. That's gonna.
It certainly
cause some
seems like
issues.
something that triggers this weird chain reaction, which is basically saying something's knocked me off center. I need to increase my motor in order to right myself, and that has an opposite effect. And you just end up like full throttle, going crazy. I've had it before on other quads where I've literally turned air mode on and it's gone. It's disappeared into the air because there was some slight imbalance where by spinning up one motor it's like that's bad, I need to spin up the other motor to counteract, and the other motor says I need to spin up the other motor, and it just goes out of control. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, needs more room. It's
Muted.
also
Yeah, I was going to say I have that all the time trying to tune lightweight stuff where it just flies to the moon. You bump the mids up and a little bit of vibration just gets run away, and you've got to be fast on the
there's
disarm
nothing
switch.
you want more than when it's 6 degrees outside, you've got a 16-mile-an-hour wind on your poor little fingers that are exposed, and the stupid quad is not doing what it tells you, and then you have to walk into the cow field to retrieve it. Fun times.
You need some Astro gloves.
I do. I
Or
watched
pocket
last
vomit.
week's episode. I saw him.
Or a puke.
Puke pocket.
Puke pocket.
All that, yeah. I think I've found the fossil stuff frame that we were talking about. I think this is it. The Event Horizon.
That's it.
wow.
I knew it was spacey.
Looks like it's made of plumbing supplies.
That looks very cool. It looks very heavy, I have to say. It looks like you could break
it
into a
wasn't-
Are
house
those
with it.
wasn't that heavy.
Jubilee clips holding the arms together? What's going on there?
I don't know
They're
what.
like wire bands
Oh
around the
yeah,
arms.
that looks like if those are just like carbon fibre tubes, then is it something just like screwing the end of the arms?
They were
or something?
Delron, and they were the V band with the clips that bite into them and squeeze them together. I can't remember what they're
Yeah,
called.
that's it.
That's
They're
like
basically
plumbing
the things
supplies.
that hold CV boots together.
It's got a really good Robot Wars vibe.
It does,
It
doesn't
was. It was good the fact that you could twist the props forward more. Because you didn't have to have it like that. You could literally.
Yeah, people used to think that was a good idea as well. Let's angle the props and keep the camera
angle them
flat.
forward. Yeah. But Johnny Banter
Kids-
flew his really well. when he got his going. But mine was just rubbish. I think I had little bees in there, and it was back in them days. So if I got it,
Naze Mini F1 as well.
Yeah, it was
with a right angle adapter on it. It was just absolute dog shit.
It's probably like a 3S, like.
I reckon now
Chaos,
though,
not even Chaos. Whatever
this is what I've been doing
ones before Chaos were.
One of those old single crash VTX antennas as well.
But Jack still demands to use.
What?
Oh, no.
Well, I used them for a bit, but they are single crash antennas, so I don't use them anymore.
What single crash? What?
Just don't crash.
Single crash
those
VTX antennas.
Yeah.
With your little caps that we have to go hunting through the grass for.
Oh yeah,
right, exactly.
Yeah,
those
know,
guys.
Yeah, okay. Very well. Fine.
Did you see the other Rotor Riot thing they did on that? Because they followed up that bone drone with the propellers on top and bottom with a comparison of, I think it was like was it either a Y6 or an X8 versus the alternative? Yeah, it was an X in an 8 motor in an X config versus 8 motor in a full dispersed, all separated, not on top of each other config, and they were showing it that when you put them in that stacked config, you get dramatically less thrust. Like they could lift something like only 60% of the weight that they could lift when they'd actually spaced all the propellers out. You get far less of a benefit from doubling up the motors when they're on top of each other.
It makes sense. I mean, you're overlapping everything. You're just creating turbulence and air that's already flowing.
Yeah.
But can you fly down a tiny corridor? No.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of looking
That's a sewer pipe drone, that is.
Looking at the full scale stuff, the only time that you have like contra-rotating propellers on the same engine, or at least the same shaft, is really when you've got too much engine for the propellers. Like if you're doing like some of the Reno races stuff where they've really souped up an engine and they've just got so much power that they just need somewhere else to put it, then that's when they do something like that. Or where it's like the big turboprop like cargo planes where maybe they've done the same sort of thing where they've put on so much kind of big engine on a wing that you just can't fit in enough propellers. So you just put a couple on there and lose a load of efficiency.
So on a quad, if you haven't already gone to like 5-bladed props, you probably shouldn't be double stacking your motors. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's, but it's really common in the kind of camera, the aerial photography type stuff, isn't it? Like the cinema.
Well, they're carrying 20 grand's worth of camera, so they probably just want to know that if one propeller explodes, there's another one to stop it from flipping out the sky.
Yeah, that's all they're worried about.
But it means that but it means that they've got, they're dependent on that one arm, right? I wonder how much extra kind of redundancy. I mean, I guess you've got the size thing then, haven't you? Like if you're going to have a full, like 8-arm, 8-motor octocopter, then I guess that's going to end up quite a bit bigger for going through your doorways and whatever than a X8. Maybe that's the kind of trade-off that you're going to have there.
That probably is why they do it, I should think.
Yeah, it seems to be a whole load of people, and it's gaining popularity, as we were saying the other week in Hollywood. A lot cheaper than a helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
People are starting to fly them a bit indoors as well, so you see a lot of shots that start outdoors and go indoors, or vice versa. And I guess they're using the rigs to do stuff like that with a big fancy red camera on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure you get one of those big altars through a doorway very easily. It'd be a bloody big doorway, wouldn't it? But maybe an X8.
Speaking of cameras and filming and stuff, you've broken and fixed one recently, right, Tony?
Oh, just my little GoPro
7.
Yeah, look, I've still got the shattered glass.
Remains.
This is what I love about the 7. Literally just twist the front off.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8. They all do the same.
And now you can't do it.
What did the 9 and 10 do then? Because I thought you could change the lenses. Because there's this
They're
thing called the
heavier.
max lens.
They've
isn't
added
there?
reassuring heft.
I know you can do. Yeah, you can do that max lens mod on the 9.
Doesn't that involve taking the original lens out
It
and putting a
must
different one
be.
in?
I'm presuming this is still waterproof. I mean, it was quite tight fit to get on and off. So
Can you get just an aftermarket shell for the camera that gives you like a weight reduction and replaceable lenses for the 9 and 10, or are you stuck?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, or 8 does not have an easy to remove lens.
Are we up to 10 now?
Yeah.
Are we up to 9 or 10 now? I can't remember what
10.
the latest one.
It's
10,
It is 10,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
So like just so many. What was I going to say? Have you seen the Happy Model ES24 TX Pro? Does like 1,000 milliwatt or 1 watt.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, that's
wondered
the
if
one
you-
they bunged a fan on it.
Is that all that? I'm tempted to do
That's
the
basically it,
open LRS, but I want to build my own module.
Yeah, do it.
Can you help me? Can you navigate me through?
Ask Failsafe. Oh, we got Failsafe on the chat there. I bought 2 modules from Failsafe, and they've come out really well. So if you want anyone to ask how to do it, there's
Yeah, like the BOM and buy a PCB off someone. I don't know. I think it'd be quite fun to do.
it was a
Just
delicate
so you
enough
don't have to try and
soldering to
pronounce
scare me.
Nemimno.
Nemimno.
It's too
I
hard.
don't know.
The Nemimno one does look good. They've just brought out a module that does everything the Beta FPV one does, but apparently with forethought, with added forethought. So they've actually put the fan next to the elements that produce heat, for example,
What?
which was agreed to be a universally sensible design choice. Unlike Beta
I've
FPV,
already
when
had-
they put the fan as far away from the bit that was hot as possible, on the other side of the board, in fact.
I already had a communication from BFPV asking me to defend their position of the fan.
They're saying, doesn't matter, it's fine.
Well, they're saying doesn't matter, and I'm saying I don't care, and I don't think their way of replying to a comment about their teardown is particularly professional. When someone just goes, "This is shit. We meant to do this. We did. Honest, Governor." It's like,
I'm sure the fan
it
helps.
works.
I mean, it's not doing nothing. It would just do a lot more if it was actually blowing on. If they put the components on the same side of the board where the moving air was, it would definitely work more effectively than cooling like the back of the components through the PCB.
Yes, it's
Oh,
some
Zero.
cooling,
Thank you,
but
Zero.
not the
But I mean,
most.
you say it's not really an issue because I never have to turn my module up above 100 milliwatt. I only put it on 100 milliwatt if I'm doing something stupid with one of those EP2 and the ceramic antennas. And I just, flying miles on that, and it's a crap antenna. But anything that's actually got one of those little Immortal T-style antennas there.
It's true. Everyone's very keen on getting. I must have 1 watt out of my module, and I've been unable to outfly 100 milliwatts, unless I use the as unreleased
Oh, Shady's
Beta
here.
FPV Light Radio 3, which runs out of range about 800 meters.
Boo,
Thank you,
boo,
Zero.
Find
boo.
something.
I was thinking about
Yes.
upgrading my fleet before this weekend, but I've got probably about 10 receivers now on Express LRS. So I'm just going to wait until 2 is a little bit further along the RC thing. They've got 3 RCs out now, and I'm just going to hold fire, I think, be a little bit more conservative and actually do some flying instead of constant upgrading.
That means going out in the cold and the wet the weekend.
Yeah,
In the
it's
rain.
been really dry, though. That's something. It's freezing
Is
Yeah,
cold.
it?
it's been a great November, but I think tomorrow we're starting with a bit of rain.
It's not looking good tomorrow.
Bummer.
I know. Might have
I've ordered a new Cadex Nano Pro DJI cam. Be able to test that out soon. I haven't even built the one with the
Yeah,
little
Look at,
Polo
sorry to
Nano.
interrupt, but
Bloody hell.
someone screenshot
Are you
Jack
juggling
with
those
4
fireworks?
He's got 4 fireworks on.
Well, luckily
I
he's
hope
got a
you're
bucket of
opening
water,
the
haven't you,
window,
Jack? Haven't you, Jack?
This is why at some point in the stream, Jack will always say, "Frank, can I have some more fireworks? I've run out." It's like it's burn them all.
And I've got a weird cough. It happens every Friday.
I'm amazed his webcam's still in as good condition as it is. It's a miracle in itself.
I'm amazed his hair's
And the
still in
microphone,
good
yeah.
condition as it is. It ain't caught
When was the last
fire.
time you went to the barber, Jack? You just don't need to, do you? Just burning the extremities off.
Every
Well, I
time
went
get
today.
a donation.
All right.
What did you walk in and walk back out?
What's up?
Nothing.
I just took one look at you and just kicked you back out the door.
Yeah, it was like, I can't deal with that.
Vets are down the road.
I did manage to set fire to my arm when I was poorly. I think my reactions were a bit slow.
Oh.
I was reaching over a stove, and then I smelt something bad, like burnt hair, and it turned out that I'd burnt all the hair down my arm,
Oh,
and it had gone like just turned into black stubble, which you wipe off, and it's like, well, that's good hair removal, but Jesus, human hair burning, not a great smell. It's like it's
No.
almost as bad as magic smoke smell.
It's really not what you want in the kitchen. It's last on the list.
Fingernails burning is a horrible smell as well. It's all kerosene.
Wow.
That sounds yuck.
I know, not good. Have you guys seen the new Speedy B Pay It Forward? Bardwell was talking about it. You get a box of old stuff together and then post it to different people. You take
Oh.
stuff that you want out and you put stuff. It's an honor system. You put stuff in that you don't want and you pay it forward.
It
all
sounds
moving.
like a
Still trying
lot
to
of...
shift the old bits of oily metal gears and things that you received from Frank.
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
I'll just
Still got
I'll
a
just
bag
post
full
all
of
my
strange
stuff.
wheels from Frank we can get rid of.
Yeah, have this.
Could I just put the entire fucktard in there and send that one?
Well, God bless the fucktard.
Yeah.
He's still in there. He's still waiting to get his paramotor built out of carrier bags.
It's a really elaborate way to kill yourself, that one.
Maybe we could do something like that in the LDO Discord. Maybe put out a thing where, you play swap these, post list stuff up, and if someone says, "I'll have that," and then
Is the idea
It'd
meant
be
to
more
be that-
sensible if you could meet and exchange it, because I think
I was
the
gonna say,
delivery
yeah.
costs in the UK are not great. It's
Yeah, I
generally
know.
cheaper to get,
I tried-
get stuff from China and free delivery than to buy them.
yeah, I was just trying to think of a way of not sending a big old heavy box around.
Yeah, I think.
Like-
Well, maybe if we could kind of
But
arrange some
individual
kind
bonus.
of slightly anonymized map, and then you could maybe find the next nearest person to you, meet up with them, pass the box on, and just kind of.
You know those community
Chain letter
library
around.
boxes? I don't know if people have seen this, but it's that around our way there's little community library things, and people build something that looks like a large birdhouse with a door on the front and paint it funny colours. And they put their old books in there on some shelves, and then people go past and take a book and then leave one of their own.
Yeah.
We use
Again, an honor
telephone
system.
boxes
If
around
only
the driveway.
RC was a bit more popular, we could just leave all our old RC parts out in little hutches on the curb, and we could swap them.
Maybe we should do
I'm
this at
now
like, the
wondering-
bandos.
Yeah.
I'm now
Yeah,
wondering if this
hidden
is how
caches.
porn was done in the old days. Because if you're old enough to remember it, like
That's
me,
a magazine.
Oh,
in the olden
yeah.
days before the internet, you used to find porn in hedgerows and stuff. And I'm wondering if
That's
this
where
is
it
like the honour system. You'd take your mag, you'd give it there, you'd pick up a different one, you'd go away again, and the odd
the old-
teenager would stumble across it and like, wow, look at that. This is great.
I found a bush in a bush.
I think Andy
Exactly.
RC mentioned something about that. At one
I
point.
remember an
The
old comedy
wank
sketch.
bush.
Which show was it where there were people who said,
Linear?
"Oh, we remember being kids, but you've got to pay it forward, haven't you?" And all these like middle-aged people were hiding bags of pornography in the woods. It's for the children. You've got to remember, it's for the children.
It worked.
Yeah, maybe.
Do not leave porn in
it's
bushes.
Spoiled
Get on the
now.
list.
Websites with everything. You
Back in the
weren't picky
day.
when you were just discovering your jazz mags in the hedgerows.
Just, man.
Pages were missing.
Ah, picture of rural Idyll.
What's
Yeah,
happened?
Yeah, maybe we can do some like geocaching of drone bits.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
if we had Hidden Valley,
Yeah,
we
literally.
could-
Next time you crash one in the tree, just say treasure. Just put the coordinates in. See, we'll get it down for you.
Just last known position just goes into the
Okay.
geocache.
the wing.
I like that.
Just putting that one on the screen. A different world.
Who
Oh, so what's everyone been up to? Anyone done much flying?
Jack
Only
came
me
up and we did
today.
some laser cutting for
Ooh.
the
Yeah, we did.
mini guinea and some other bits.
Is that still alive, that thing? I thought it got blown.
What
up.
Really?
making some improvements? Is it getting a splint or is it getting a complete redesign?
It's very much a Trigger's broom, mechanically.
Oh, no, not really.
We've only replaced this and that and the other, and cut out a few of these. And
Oh,
cut
it's
out
in
a few
a
of
bag,
those.
look.
I did some
It comes
fannying around
pre-bagged
myself.
up for later.
I've got this custom
Is
4-inch
it
that I've
literally
been
in the bag? Look, he's tipping it up.
Pre-crashed.
got bits. What's he got there?
The
What you
mini
got?
guinea in bits, I think.
Some bits. Oh, the camera's not enjoying that. We have something that looks like plain in potentia.
Yep.
Is it going
That's
to be
what
yellow
we're
again?
Yeah, I'll have to buy more colour from.
Trotters
Sausage
independent
Buddha
traders.
Yep. Tony loves it.
Okay.
It was a fun little thing with the tail catch and stuff.
Yeah.
It looked pretty awesome with the smoke on it. I was just looking at those videos again. I'm kind of flying around completely confused and don't notice it until you start the smoke, and I'm like, "Oh, there he is!" and charge after it.
Yeah, because we're hoping we'll be putting this on Patreon. We're hoping to do some night flying on New Year's Eve, on the afternoon of New Year's Eve, at a secret location. So we will announce it to Patreons first, and they'll get first reviews. And if we've still got some spaces, then we'll open it up to everyone else. So look forward to that after the show if you're a patron.
Many people.
That's Dr. Roboto. I see this, not Mr. Roboto. God. Dr. Robotnik, I think, is what he's trying to reference.
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Not quite ginger enough, but I'm working on it. We'll get there.
Just call him Dr. Eggman. Let's go with the original Japanese. It's better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say I tried to fly this thing again. This because I've been messing around with Betaflight and putting in DJI on-screen display patches. I've been updating through 4.3's history, and I did it again, and then found out it was puking on my config. It didn't want to take all my PIDs because they've changed the names of all the sliders. So I kind of went in there and found some odd patches. One where it wanted to reset my filters and set them to 2 and 5 hertz, and then it wanted to reset all the PIDs. And so I just kind of winged it and guessed the PIDs, and I got it spot on first time, which is probably a sign I've been spending too much time tinkering with this one. But there's about 1 million sliders in 4.3 now. It's gotten a bit out of control.
Was he just gone the
too
other
much.
way?
Yeah, like if you enable expert mode, it doesn't just show you the kind of dampening and stability on whatever sliders, the kind of P gain, I gain, D gain. It just shows you all sorts of blends and ratios and things. It's a bit much.
I don't like it. It needs
It
to be
just about makes
simplified.
sense, but you have to really reframe what you're doing and think about, well, what problem am I trying to solve? And then they do help once you kind of understand, I need to, improve tracking, or I need to improve prop wash handling, and you can like narrow it down. They've also changed it so you don't just enable D-min, but you like have D-max as a multiple of your basic D gains. So that's totally adjustable now. I just disabled the D-min. Can't be bothered with it. It's fine as it
I
is.
don't have enough time for this. Because now it takes like it's a 1 hour trip just to go and fly something. I don't want to faff about. I just want it to fly. It's like
Especially when
default
it's
rates,
freezing.
fly good. And then if it doesn't, I get disappointed.
Does
Take
it
a whole
stay
bag
in
of
the air?
quads just in case.
Does it stay in the air? Does it go rapidly in the air every time you do a coordinated turn? Okay, we can work around that.
We just won't
But not if it's
turn.
going to just keep fail-safing.
Just split S every time. No turns. Just that's what you've got.
That would
That's
work
what's left
better.
in the bag. Was it okay when you did like rolls and flips on the pitch axis and things, or did it hate those?
And it was okay if you do just a yaw. If you're gentle round the turn, it's fine. As soon as you coordinate and use both sticks at a time, is when it seemed to go a bit crazy. There was a little bit of rise on the yaw, so it was obviously overcompensating. But as soon as you mixed in roll with yaw, it's like, wee, we're going.
Yeah, not to say 4.3 is bad. I think it's good, by the way, to Magic Pencil's comment. Like, the defaults do work fine. I was just really aggressively trying to tune that to get rid of every last bit of prop wash, which I did in the end. The fact that it refused to take my values from the 4.3 build of 2 months ago was just a bit of a pain, that's all.
Well, I don't think I've put Betaflight on or any of them on for so long. Luckily,
I saw a comment.
I haven't had any new builds or anything that I've had to update. So
Multi-Wee's working for you fine then, yeah, Tony?
yes, all perfect.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to say I saw a comment in Betaflight where there was something to the tune of 4.3 will be final in November 2020, and we will be planning a release in early 2021. And they just went through and changed it this week and just changed the year. It reads like final in November 2021 and will be released in March 2022. It's just like, okay, fine. Who knows what's happening there?
That is funny. Yeah, Tony's like must have abandoned race flight by now. Is that still a thing? Is race flight dead?
I haven't flown race flight for about 4 years.
That was absolute dog shit.
You hated it, didn't you? What the early builds were poo, and then they were really good. It was really good, and then it went poo poo again, and then I think it's gone good again. But I haven't bothered with it for so long. I mean, like I said just then, I haven't had to do anything. I've got no new builds coming. I have to rebuild my X class, but everything's going to be fine. I'm not even going to touch that. I'll just move the FC over and all that lot, and fingers crossed. The only thing I am going to probably change is the ESCs, which might upset it all, but we'll have to see.
What ESCs?
The bloody expensive ones.
It's for X class. They're all bloody expensive.
Yes.
Who's gonna?
I think there were a ton of pop.
Bloody hell.
So, and I'm going to have to buy 5 for 1 spare.
Are you gonna buy them?
Yeah.
At what point does an ESC stop being an ESC and start being a 3-phase inverter? Is it sort of when it's bigger than your head?
If you have to pay road tax on
it.
Yeah. But yeah, the deer, the APD ones I'm going to put in there.
Yeah, how about a PDB, Tony?
And I am going to buy a PD. Yes.
And
There needs to be some competition for those high power ESCs. It seems like it's APD and nothing. That's why the prices are so crazy, right?
Yeah, I don't think there is anything else. Is there?
There's some
I think
iFlight ones around 120 amp, but I think there's nothing above 120 other than those.
Yeah, I think the ones I'm going to get are 200s.
are you going to mount your VTX somehow differently?
Yes, it's not going to be on the outside anymore.
No, Win. I can't light anything. My bench is full of foam and paper.
Come on,
Oh.
light something. Look, it's Win Davis, #1 fan. Hashtag #1 fan.
I'm going to burn to
Can't see
death.
the super sticker there, but you can see it in the...
Yeah.
Oh, there, look.
He's got it on the screen. It's a super sticker.
It's still
Yeah,
good.
but you don't see the animation.
Oh, right.
A lighter fart, Jack. Oh, God, don't. Just put it out.
Doesn't stay in me long enough to turn into methane.
I was checking on Clean Flight because I remember when you guys had Hydra on, he was talking about like taking changes from Betaflight back into that, but he seems to have given up on that idea as of a year or two ago, which is a shame.
I think he's just focused on making hardware. Last time I saw, he was like, like using like a pick and place machine and everything. Thank you, Win.
Holy moly, you weren't kidding about those APD ESCs. I was looking because Rupert White, who's going to be on the show in a couple of weeks, and just set the speed record at 500.
Did he use APD?
No, yeah, he's got a 200 amp APD.
Just the one, mind.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
He's got to buy 5, is he?
Oh, that's right on time. Shady was just saying.
Shady, see the flight by Owen Googly Bird. And I think Curry's been having a natter to him as well.
Yeah, interesting. We were talking. I think when Bruce was on, we were mentioning Spectra, and Jack hadn't heard of them, and their videos have all been taken down. So I can't even direct you to them and say, "Watch this." It's quite funny. They're not there.
Their
anymore.
videos were taken down. What happened?
Well, they're not there anymore. They've taken the videos down.
Oh, right, okay.
Someone's taken them
Did you
down.
light something, Jack?
What were they?
Oh,
What was Spectra 50?
Spectra 50 was just a bunch of
Thanks, Win.
old guys that worked together and would just go out
brilliant. I loved
in a public
Spectra.
park and fly stuff and crash stuff. And I think the problem is they often commented on young ladies walking past, and perhaps that's why they took the videos down. Maybe that got them into trouble. But it was very funny. There was lots of crashing and there was just lots of having fun. It was basically...
What is Jack doing? This looks so unsafe.
It looks like candles, but...
randomly combusting fireworks that don't quite light, and it's
These
actually
ones-
scarier than when they're fully alight. What the hell is
These
going on
ones
there?
from Poundland.
What's going on?
Are these the budget Roman candles, Jack?
I don't know what's up with them.
So no, they're the same ones
got wet.
we've had for however many years.
Oh.
There they go.
There we are.
Bit better. Has so Spectra's taken all of his stuff down, has he?
Yeah, it looks that way. I couldn't see
Oh,
anything.
man. I used to enjoy watching them. I even watched a couple of them. Left it a year and went back and watched them again because some of them were quite funny.
Yeah, this latest video is very impressive. Although he manages to kill a 2 amp hour battery in like one pass, which is quite impressive.
Well, if you've ever Spectra videos still on my subs, let me check it, Shady. I want to make sure they're there because then I can make Jack watch them all.
Yeah, this is what you get for no competition. Saying 190 quid says Numbskull FPV for the APD 200.
Jesus.
ESCs.
I probably won't buy the 200s then.
Yeah. It's a bit rich, isn't it? They need a few people in on that game to push the prices down.
Unless we get some kind of sponsor, which Martin's trying to push, or we might have Not Red Bull, but what's the other quite tasty drink out there?
Monster.
Yeah.
You talked to that Alka Motors guy who was doing his own alternative to BL Heli 32. Maybe that'd be worth talking to, because he was considering doing some sort of ESC firmware and open sourcing ESC designs. If you could get someone to start building ESCs for you, he'd be literally off to the races.
It's all gone quiet, said Ruben.
And given the crazy cost of ESCs in X-Class racing, I'm a little bit surprised that no one's tried to do their own ESC boards.
I wouldn't
Just quickly intervene and say, good news, Jack. The Spectra 50 stuff is still there, as people point out to me. I must have been looking at they had another channel as well, which they refer to as their "Don't share this one. This is dodgy." Maybe that's the one that's gone. So you've got stuff to watch. Inspiration.
It is good. They got
Good luck.
gliders and all that lot, and
Yeah, I saw it. I need like, you know, these are.
Monkey Boy.
I want a curated list, well, curried list where like these are the ones to get into, because I feel a bit outside. Like I watch them and I'm outside the jokes.
Well, just get on and watch them then. Hurry up. Snap
Including such videos as Death by Expo.
Yes. All right, that's a good one. I can watch that. Oh, my keyboard is printing nothing but zeros.
What?
Well, something was leaning on my keyboard.
Have you got an L key back yet?
Yeah, I bought one. I posted it on my Instagram.
Just the L.
Yeah. I can't buy any
Right.
at the moment anymore, unfortunately.
What? That's it. You've bought all the L's.
No, I mean, like, I just can't buy anything at the moment.
Oh, I see.
On new hardware and that, did anyone catch the video of OpenHD with this giant Jetson board?
No,
Saw a video of
sounds fun.
Mario FPV flying it around, and he's taken something that it's the size of it's like an Android TV box, if you imagine that, bolted into a quad with cable ties, and the most shoddy of builds, because there's just no way to fit this thing in unless you've got some huge Arduino rig, which he hasn't. I mean, the guy's flying this on 3-inch, so it's comical. It's just like, imagine you've taken like a CD case or something and just put it on the top of your 3-inch quad and put cable ties around it. That's what
This
you're looking
literally
at.
sounds like my regular OpenHD
Yeah.
quad build.
But he's managed to crank it a bit, because this is one that's got some serious image processing hardware. It's an NVIDIA board, and NVIDIA are famous originally for gaming cards, and then they got in all this kind of high-performance compute stuff, and they're currently used for machine learning and training and inference of visual data, so to do pattern recognition for autonomous vehicles and God knows what. And so they've taken this type of accelerator that can do video, all sorts of video acceleration, and doing it using video encode and decode acceleration on the Nano, and he's able to get it down to 55 millisecond latency, where previously they were talking around 100, 110 milliseconds. He's had to crunch it down to 480 lines to get that, so 720, 240. But it's promising, at least. Unfortunately, it's just nowhere near what you get with SharkBite or DJI, so it's still relegated to the long-range crowd.
What the plan is the guys that are working on the hardware solution are aiming to go for between 50, 60 milliseconds of latency based on a single board that will
But
do...
at what resolution?
I think they're aiming 720.
That would be okay.
Which
Yeah.
I think the problem is with using single board computers is you're stuck with running an OS and all the regular interrupts and OS stuff you do. It's not like a real time thing. You haven't got deterministic workflow to do one thing or the other, and plus you haven't got any specialized encode decode hardware. Obviously the Nano had some. It had all those GPU cores to do stuff with,
Yeah.
But
you're still
if
running
you
an
can,
OS
if you can
to
make the
support
hardware
the GPU.
specialized, a bit like DJI has, then you can put it into something
Yeah.
small.
And you've got to wait for an
the
OS
right
to
thing.
boot when you fly as well. That's not just like, I mean, DJI does take a second or two to get going, but it's only a handful of seconds. You're waiting for a Raspberry Pi to boot. That could be 30 seconds before you can fly, which is a little bit irritating.
A lot of OpenHD is Perl scripts running. You can literally see them starting up and running and doing this and doing that. It's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, it's still quite impressive that it works at all, frankly. But you're not. It's no good just like throwing more power at it and saying like, oh well, the next Raspberry Pi is gonna run faster and have more cores. It's you want to be more specialised in the approach, which you're only going to get from building specialised hardware. So I'm trying to get in and talk to the guys developing it to see how they're getting on. I said I would do it after I got this stupid thing to fly. This is literally my Raspberry Pi bolted on the side because it won't fit.
Did you get it in the air yet?
Yeah, only in the garden until that, because it's got such a stupid camera. The ribbon
Looks like
cable.
Tupperware cord.
Oh, you're still waiting for a new ribbon cable.
Well, it's not that. It's like that entire camera has a non-replaceable cable. As soon as you rip the cable, which I did on one of them, you're screwed. So I'm trying to order the better camera.
Is that
which
the
is gonna
Ardupilot
look nicer.
one?
The Ardupilot one, but it's out
Ardupilot
of stock everywhere at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting for that because that's the one that's going to go in the plane, and the plane has the Ochin board, which looks a lot nicer. That is the Compute Module 4 with the Ochin board, and that's got a proper
JST
power
plugs for
distribution, and
everything.
it's got nice JST plugs, so you can just plug stuff in and have it work a bit better. So that's hopefully the way forward. But right now, I can't imagine going out flying too much because it's bloody miserable out there, isn't it? It's just even in a nice sunny day, I'm feeling like I could die out here. In fact, I was pissing about trying to get this stupid thing flying that I stupidly accepted to say, yeah, that's a quick thing to review. And a man came up to me because I was literally sat on the floor in a field talking to this stupid quad. Because I don't know about you guys, I often chat to my electronics when they're misbehaving.
Oh, they work
Yeah,
better
so-
if you swear at them. Yeah.
Is there someone that looks after you?
Someone literally came up and says, "Are you okay?" And I had to answer, "I'm fine. I'm just here playing with some toys," which makes it sound even worse, if anything. I think so. I don't know if he went away feeling reassured or not.
Well, you were outside and he might have thought you found some mags, and now you're playing with some toys. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps he was round there hunting for his bringing by, like the Blue Peter
It was
porn bringing by
a
sales.
common source of concern when I worked with a bunch of software developers that the muttering would turn into shouting and just general sort of annoyed soliloquies vented across the office. It just happens. Just happens.
I
Healthy.
think Frank's already got all Astro gloves.
Fewer people
I
go
do
postal
indeed.
when they mutter about their machinery. You don't want to bottle it up.
Yeah, I've had my Astro gloves for a couple of years. They are really good, and that's why I recommend them.
Thanks, Frank. Only if you go outside.
It feels like they want an extra bit, like because the Astro gloves have that. It's basically thumb and forefinger, isn't it? As I watched it, so you could do that. But I want this little extra thing just to pop the cap back on your thumb when you've finished to cover back up again.
You
Yeah,
want to like a momentary release thumb.
Yeah, a little, literally roll back or something. Like you go like Spider-Man, except with web shooting out. The little gloves go and go back over the thumbs. Because even just exposing your thumbs and doing this, you're like.
Couldn't you have a
My
glove that
thumbs are
goes
numb
along the top
at this
of your
point.
thumb but leaves the pad of the thumb to grip things?
just cut a tiny little hole in some gloves.
Just a small hole in some gloves.
Just
Yeah,
the thumbprints. Yeah.
that would work.
Yeah, it's got bloody cold, especially when you're standing in a field and the wind gets up. It's no good.
Can you show them on screen? I'll go grab them.
I am pleasantly surprised by the new cameras, though. Everything just seems to work much better than it used to. When I started flying, I couldn't fly anything past about 4 o'clock this time of year. was too dark.
Yeah.
But everything seems much happier with low light now.
Isn't the sun annoying? It's like winter time. Where's the sun get to? It gets up to eye line and then goes back down again and gets dark. Ugh. Look at that.
He loves them. For everyone who, need
He
LDO.
looks so much happier now. Look
Everyone
at him.
who's
Look at him.
listening.
He loves
So
it.
much happier.
It feels like
You're
something
muted.
like your nan would buy you new gloves for because she's seen your ones and they're broken.
Happy
Yeah.
Christmas.
They're sort of over quite a bit of wear. Like they are slightly
They're
fraying
fraying a
along
bit.
there, but they're like sewed up double, so they're not going to fall apart
Is it
anytime soon.
neoprene? I can't tell what the fabric is.
Don't know. It's fairly thick, fairly solid, but it's
I like foamy wetsuit material.
a little bit, I guess.
They probably just were wetsuit gloves as long as it's long.
Yeah.
There needs some
Wouldn't be surprised.
trimming on them so you could see your hands, like trimming markers. But the trouble is that's radioactive, isn't it? I think heat radiation.
That flawless.
Yeah.
This reminds me
Well,
of
at
Red
least I
Dwarf.
didn't
An
say
excellent
radio.
plan, sir, except for two small drawbacks. We don't have any tritium markers, and the tritium markers are completely radioactive and will kill us in under 15 minutes. Other than that, solid plan, sir.
No, they kill you very slowly. They're not like not like instant death. But I think it's beta radiation does suck a bit because obviously it gets in there and doesn't. It's strong enough to penetrate, but doesn't get all the way through.
That's what
If you're
she
going to go
said.
the whole nuclear thing, surely that's just going to this is nice and warming. These nuclear
Yeah, like
rods.
the bonus warming feature.
Well, that's what they do in space aircraft, isn't it? To stop stuff freezing up, they just literally put like a small kind of nuclear power supply that just pumps out a bit of heat.
Really?
I'm pretty sure,
Like
yeah.
that.
Just keep things going along. Electronics don't like being super cold.
Yeah, I can imagine. And also, I bought some of the old conformal coatings, so I got to do my ESCs. Because if I do miraculously go flying, I'll probably cook them in the wet.
It might be wet New Year's Eve or when you're
Yeah.
out.
Just don't land on wet grass in the dark. You'll be fine.
Yeah, bit hard not
Have
to.
someone catch it. That sounds like a good
flying in the
competition.
dark. What's
Catch the
everyone's-
plane in the dark?
What's
Be on
everyone's
fire. Fire means lie.
So yes,
Generally,
everyone's what?
I just don't fly in the dark.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what's your preferred night flying get up? Everyone
Yes.
knows the old Rattel and everything works well, but anything else?
I did a poll in the chat as well during the show about what's everyone's
Torch.
favourite night flying add-on.
How's that gone?
Leading is LEDs at 45%. Next one is starlight cameras. Third one is Runny Great Torch, and at the rear is pyrotechnics. So
Possibly the most important that's not on there is landing lights. Because as long as you know where you're coming back, that's much more important than LEDs like, oh, I can see the quad over there. That's no good when you're trying to find your way.
well, I was thinking kind of Runny Great Torch is like also that could be like headlights on your car lighting up where you
Sunrise
are
light.
or whatever.
Yeah, I find LEDs that seem great when you're about to take off, but then you get in the air and you kind of realise LEDs, they only really illuminate where you are, and if you're not near the ground, it doesn't really help.
Hmm.
You can't see anything, and then you're trying to get near the ground, which isn't necessarily conducive to safe flying.
Yeah. That's the opposite of what you want to do.
The bloody great
I-
bonfire could have been on the list.
I knew someone that used to
option.
like flying at night but didn't want to attract attention, so he used infrared lights, and then he had an infrared sensitive camera, which is a nice way of doing things.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if anybody saw it, completely dark in the field, and he was just
Well,
coming
you can
into
just
land.
peel off the IR filter, can't you, on your regular cams? Because
Yeah,
that's
you can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you've got one of those just little things you can put out. Sometimes they seem like fixed on. Sometimes they're just literally a little filter you can take away. Sometimes it's like a fixed in thing, and sometimes it's on the lens. Sometimes it's on the sensor.
yeah.
Yeah, that's. God, you used to be able to buy IR sensitive cameras, couldn't you? And they used to you'd fly them during the day, and everything would appear blue. It's like
Yeah.
tinged to everything.
Didn't someone we know make one something a few years ago, put on the front of a quad?
Carlos,
Didn't-
I'm sure, has done quite a bit on that kind of thing. I remember he used to buzz everyone with their campfires with
Yeah.
his wing. At some
Yeah,
What
point.
about-
There
you
was-
tuning in and watching him. It was all
Hmm.
green.
It
Has anyone
was-
tried out that? Sorry, go ahead.
all I was going to say is, Tony, it was was it iDrone had like this guy next to him at a stall once, and they had like the high
That's it.
powered IR like floodlight thing,
Hmm.
and he sold them at the show, and then we never saw them ever again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I didn't do well. I remember it being quite big, and then having to put a GoPro on as well. It was just like too much.
Yeah. Sorry, Simon,
Not
what
that
were you
you'd see
saying?
much in a GoPro.
I was going to ask if anyone tried out the Menace RC Cobb LEDs yet.
No, I haven't. I didn't.
I did get a ping from Greg about getting some, but he didn't reply as yet. But they look.
I've
pretty
got a
high
set.
powered.
I just haven't had a quad that's the right shape to fit them on. I'm scratching my head thinking, where can I mount them?
20
They've
quid
got a
for
driver
quads?
board as well.
Yeah. Win has them. I've seen him do some stuff with them, and he bought some at Western Park, I think, and he's like posted some stuff on from his workbench and that. So, Win, did you ever do anything with that LED board I sent you? Because I've got so many of those. And if anyone wants a Maytech LED board, let me know. You can have it for shipping price.
$9 grand.
No, not really.
Shit.
I've
Gonna
got a
go all
little
the way
tank
round the
converter.
other way.
Nothing else so far. Oh, dead air. Fun times. Yeah,
No,
so I was
uh,
going to try and build a quad with the Menace Cobb LED boards, which aren't just the same as the LEDs you have from Maytech and so forth. Those little RGB ones. The Menace ones are these giant Cobb ones that you see in high power floodlights, and they look quite impressive. But you do need a special converter board to run the power to them, and they hook directly into the battery, so you don't just run them off the flight controller off the modest 5-volt supply. It goes directly from the main battery. And you've got to kind of calculate the right number that you can string along according to what voltage and things. I'm going to put out an absolute ton of light, but I'm just worried if it's misty, then that's just going to create a really bright haze in front of the quad. So I have to see how that works.
I don't know how far they'd be visible from, because I mentioned it before. We had a friend that ran LEDs on 4S directly from his wing, and we could see it from 10 kilometres away when he turned them on.
Really?
Yeah.
Is the
It
UFOs
was
right
obviously
there?
at night, and it was just like, boom, it just lit up absolute miles away.
Not as
beautiful.
bright
always
as
wondered about
Daniel's
wings,
one
what
that
you
he's
do with it.
put on his quad. You remember? RC
No, that's pretty much
Tesla.
the sun on his
Yeah.
stuff, isn't it? Just lighting up entire forests.
That was bad. That was. It was
That
really
was. I've never seen anything like it.
weird. Yeah. If you haven't seen that, go and watch that. Is it RC test flight?
Oh,
Yeah.
Menace LED. Richard
Yeah.
Richard Warwick in the chat has posted a link to his Menace LED testing. Looks very interesting.
Hmm.
Just mute this and see what's going on. Yeah, it seems pretty bright. Wow, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
trying
that's
to-
like a floodlight. That'll do. Wow.
So are these
That's
more
weird.
for seeing yourself in the air or trying to light up where you're going? Because it always seems too localized. You need to sort of project in front of yourself, don't you, to see where you want to go?
Well, they are kind of planar. They're like a 2D strip of LED element. They're funny
Yeah.
things. I hadn't seen them before, but they're just like yellow stripes. Each one.
I got
They're,
my mountain bike, like literally, it does go quite far, but it's just got such a massive spread, so you can see both sides of the trail.
I guess if you were trying to direct it, you'd put a reflector around it, like torches have. So it hasn't got that. It's just going to be unidirectional.
Yeah. I think the idea of it is for
Possibly.
like racers. You know, it's sort of like the thing that DRL should have gone with.
Custom colors and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Don't they have that on the big DRL quads? They've all got different colors, haven't they?
Yeah, that's the. I think that's the idea of them. Shall we call it there?
Aye.
We have successfully completed an LDO. You've been listening to Let's Show Now. Thank you guys. Massive thank you to all our Patreons and everyone who donates and everyone who tunes into this show. Don't forget, if you're listening to this on iTunes, we are live every Thursday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
What show is this again?
UK time. Let's Drone Out.
Ah, right.
Let's
Part of the Let's Drone Out network with Let's Drone Out.
On LDO FM.
This has been a Let's
you've
Drone Out
enjoyed-
production.
Yeah, sponsored by Let's Drone Out. Thank you guys. You've enjoyed by Andrew / Frank.
Bye.
Everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Goodbye.
My little darling wife.
Launch 2.
And Stephen.
Cheers.
And I've been Bright Till I Fly. Thank you guys. Good night.